Okay, I've been working on a Pox Nora clone or a Pox 2 or something similar for a couple of months now, and it's about time I gave you guys an update with a little developer diary. So what I'm going to cover first is a breakdown of the development work, like what has to be done, roughly what's been done so far, and then I'll show the current state. We've got a little bit of a graphical interface. I just use it for debugging, so it's pretty basic, but there's something there that I can show to give you an idea of where things are. Okay, so let's get going. So this is the work that needs to be done. I've kind of broken it into these 4 sections vertically, and then each of those has got code that needs to be developed, data, a whole lot of stuff that has to be input, as well as tools to help with inputting data. So to begin with, down on the server side, we have the main game engine. This is where I've put most of the work in. It does all the Pox mechanics. So it manages one game of Pox Nora. It handles things like win conditions, proc, how targeting works, movement on the map, all the game logic stuff. Basically what makes Pox Nora Pox Nora. In terms of data, it needs to have all the conditions defined, stuff like distracted and illuminated and whatever. All the different abilities. You need to have the maps defined for the engine so it knows what sort of terrain the things are moving on, and it needs to have all those runes, thousands of runes available. Tools to help with this, map editor, scripting language for conditions and abilities, because you have to be able to implement them really fast and modify them quickly as well. Don't want them hard-coded. And probably a rune editor, so champions can also be made quickly. So this is all going to be running on the server, and all the different games that are running, so multiple games running, to be handled by one game server. So it handles all the ongoing games, all the different players who are connected, managing all their connections, and does other stuff like the ranked queue, handing out rewards at the end of games, all that kind of stuff, the main game server. So one of these will be running. It'll fire up engines every time a new game is created. In terms of data, we need a user database, logins, current rank, the current battle groups, which battle groups a person has, that kind of thing. And there's other data like what tutorials are available to be played, or eventually, sometime far in the future, PvE campaigns. And it'll also be the back end for the tools that people use, like a battle group manager, ability search, that kind of thing. Then in light blue, up here, I'm showing what is basically the client. So you will run a client which handles the connection to the server. It has game interface stuff like the rune doc, displaying information about the currently selected unit, deciding what tiles to highlight, like where you can move, what valid targets are, and so obviously then it has to duplicate some of the game logic so that it knows about things like tile heights are impassable unless you're flying. Mobility means that you won't have to stop when you're engaged, so it can highlight tiles right through, that kind of stuff. There's no data associated with that. And then finally you end up with the client skin, and this is one that I've currently put a placeholder in, a little 2D rendered with SVGs, and in the future that's one that I'll probably have to contract out for a nice 3D map. So yeah, the idea is it's the map view part of the interface. It also manages animations and the sprites, that kind of thing, and that's where there's a huge data overhead. If you want art, you need loads of rune art, you need heaps of sprites, and also animations for every condition, or most conditions, and spell animations, all that kind of thing. So this is a huge job, but it's one that you can probably throw money at. The rest of it is it's also a lot of big job, but it's one that I can manage. Alright, let's show you where things stand. So I've got a server running on my local computer. It's running in Golang for those who are interested. The engine that handles the game is written in Golang. The game server that's running is written in Python. These are clients which are just web-based, but we can make standalone versions of these. So I've got 2 players logged in. I can enter the ranked queue. That should fire off a game. So 2 players, and they have a deck with 2 runes each. So it's this player's turn over here. This player obviously can't do anything, not his turn yet. You can see there's a lot of quality of life stuff missing, but it's very early days. I'm just using this to debug. I haven't put a combat log in, so I'm using the JavaScript console. You can see there's all sorts of stuff going on, and let's see what we're looking at here. So I've got activated abilities like a basic attack, passive abilities. There's sundering blows, which just means sunder. Basically, when it successfully attacks, it will apply a sundered effect. This one's got flight, and then finally conditions down below, flying. So activated passive conditions. So this guy's a flyer, well, this one's not. So in the client, I haven't put in the pathing. It doesn't know about height, doesn't know about flying, so it reckons everyone can go over that. So you go somewhere like this, the engine is working properly behind the scenes, and so it tells the client that no, that final move wasn't valid. Whereas this one, who is flying, should be able to jump off the edge, yeah, quite happily like that. Attacks work, game ends when you kill the shrine, so you can have a basic game of Pox Nora, you can capture fonts, that sort of thing. But yeah, that's where things stand, and I'll give another update when there's a bit more to show and a bit more progress has been made. Cheers.